I have always found the fact that we can predict solar eclipses so well quite astounding. We know when they're going to happen within like a few hours of when they're actually going to occur, which is crazy. And these ones happening right now in October of 2023 are no different. So I just wanted to hop on camera really quickly to say happy Halloween and also explain why today is such a big deal for astronomers. Now, if you didn't know, today is the day of an annual solar eclipse, but it is also the day of a rare hybrid solar eclipse, meaning it will be both an annual solar eclipse and a total solar eclipse for parts of the world. Now I live in California, and here we are going to see an annual solar eclipse. That's when the moon is at its farthest point from the Earth, so it will appear smaller than the sun. Total solar eclipses, on the other hand, happen when the moon is at its closest point to the Earth. The moon and the Earth's orbit are misaligned by about 5 degrees. So sometimes the moon lines up perfectly in front of the sun. This one happens very rarely. In fact, it only happens twice a year. Once on the new moon and once on the full moon. And today is one of those days. So this eclipse is going to start off looking like this. You're going to have a partial eclipse where more and more of the moon is going to pass in front of the face of the sun until all of a sudden the moon lines up perfectly in front of it. And if you look right down the center, you'll see the tiny little sliver of light. This is called a diamond ring, and it lasts for a very short period of time. It could last for a couple seconds to maybe even a couple minutes, depending on how fast your moon is moving. After that, the eclipse will continue on. The moon will move further in front of the sun until it's completely dark, like nighttime out. There will be stars out. The temperature might drop 10, 15 degrees. You will feel a very cool breeze. And it will look like a full night sky with lots of stars and the Milky Way out. When it's happening, you should definitely not be looking at your phone because you won't believe what's going on around you. Looking at your phone's gonna make it look like it's a regular daytime. But outside, there'll be lots of animals that are normally nocturnal that are gonna come out. Birds will go back into their nests. Dogs will start barking. Lots of weird stuff's gonna happen. And then after about 2 minutes, the moon will start to pass behind the sun again. The temperature will rise back up, the light will return, the birds will start singing again, and everything will go back to normal. These are incredibly cool astronomical events. They only last a couple minutes. It's best to plan ahead and know where you're gonna watch them from. Don't drive around randomly trying to find one of these things. You can also check out NASA's website or YouTube channel to see lots of cool images and videos of them as well. I unfortunately cannot show you one of these because it would be showing the actual eclipse, which YouTube would not like me doing. And also, I don't have any plans to travel for this eclipse. I live in California, and we have some pretty amazing places to watch it, especially since this is an annular solar eclipse. Now, in case you didn't know, solar eclipses are different than lunar eclipses. Lunar eclipses happen when the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. These things happen several times a year. I think the next one coming up is actually in November. So the moon will turn a deep red color because it will be passing through the Earth's atmosphere. And because our atmosphere filters out all the blue light, you'll only have red and orange light left over, making the moon look a really cool reddish color. Solar eclipses are different. It's the moon casting its shadow on the Earth. If you want to learn more about these types of events, you can visit NASA's website or Wikipedia's page on hybrid solar eclipses. I'm going to link to both of these in the description below. I just think these are incredibly cool astronomical events that we are so lucky to be able to predict so well. In fact, they're so predictable that we actually used them in the past to keep time. I remember learning about this in school, but apparently there's something called an equation of time. Because the moon doesn't orbit the Earth perfectly, sometimes it lines up with the sun better than others. So there's a slight misalignment that causes the length of a day to be slightly longer or shorter than 24 hours. And the only way we were able to figure this out was by tracking solar eclipses. This is crazy to me, because it shows just how much work scientists and astronomers have put into figuring these things out. Also, I've heard that the name of this particular eclipse is Kanya, which apparently means water in the Ashanti language of Ghana. I'm not sure how they come up with his name. I guess they give each eclipse a name depending on the country it affects the most. For example, the one that happened in April of 2024 was named Gu, which apparently means day in Sanskrit. Now, since this is happening on Halloween, I think that's kind of cool. I did some reading, and apparently people in Mexico celebrate the Day of the Dead around this time of year. So it's kind of cool that there's a solar eclipse happening during that. Again, I think that's incredibly cool. And finally, I wanted to bring up the fact that people have predicted solar eclipses thousands of years before we actually had a scientific way to understand what was happening. There are clay tablets from ancient Babylon dating back to around 700 BC that contain calculations of solar eclipses. There's also a carving at the Temple of Karnak in Egypt that appears to depict an annual solar eclipse. This is estimated to be from around 1200 BC, though there is some debate about that, and there are other cultures around the world that have depictions of these as well. The Chinese have kept detailed records of solar eclipses for more than 3,000 years, and every culture seemed to have its own explanation for what caused these. The Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus was one of the first people who correctly predicted a solar eclipse. He predicted one that occurred in 585 BC, which at the time was considered a miracle. This prediction gave him quite a bit of fame. It showed just how powerful science and understanding the universe can be. There are also many myths and legends surrounding solar eclipses. In some cultures, they were seen as a bad omen. In others, they were celebrated as a good sign. No matter what your beliefs may be, I think it's safe to say that they are a truly remarkable natural phenomena. Reminds us of the incredible power and beauty of our universe. I hope you all enjoyed my little rambling session here. I just wanted to talk about this because it's something I find super interesting. Also, I wanted to remind you all that if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you really enjoyed it, consider becoming a member. That helps me out a ton. If you want to keep watching, the next video I'd recommend is where I talked about all the upcoming meteor showers for the rest of the year. So much fun. So much fun. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.